Ain't nobody seeing me, the whole hood agree with me. I'm wiping niggas out. They like what I'm about. Every time I'm killing it, the whole hood feeling it. I got the word of mouth.
Meek Mill is not a quiet person.
Bitch, I'm a boss. I call a shot.
Shy, timid, reserved. None of these words can accurately describe one of the most controversial and contentious rappers of the last decade. Is he loud? Brash? In your face? Wouldn't be much of a rapper if he wasn't. I mean, he did shit with Mariah.
Little nigga, I'm on fire. Icy as a hockey ring, Philly nigga, I'm flyer. When I bought the Rolls Royce, they thought it was lease. Then I bought that new Ferrari, hey, to rest in peace. Hey, to rest in peace.
If you follow Meek on social media, or even if you don't, by now you've heard of his infamous nickname, Twitter Fingers.
Gangsters move in silence, nigga, and I don't talk a lot. I don't say a word. I don't say a word.
Clearly he was lying.
Hold up, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished?
Judging by his history, Meek Mill will never shut up, and I'm pretty sure I can tell you why. And if you're Meek and you're watching this, don't tweet until it's over. Being honest, I was never really a fan of Meek. Like, I would listen to the singles, but I wasn't running to go listen to a full project. That was before the research for this video. Nobody with braids this nappy is not hungry. You can tell he hustling and he been wearing that black tee for days. Shit crunchy as hell in them armpits, boy. It's that same hunger that's been carrying him for almost 2 decades. From battling on the streets in Philly to a failed deal with T.I. to going to jail for things he did in his past while his future looked bright. More on that later, but these are circumstances and situations that many have not come back from. Looking back, and I'm pretty sure it felt that way at the time, MMG was a supergroup. Anthem after anthem, with many of the songs benefiting from Meek's trademark energy. He lent authenticity to a group featuring Rick Ross, who has a questionable backstory, and Wale, a sneakerhead with a backpack blog-era pop image. He didn't have a deep voice or an imposing stature, but there's a grittiness and aggression in his voice that made you believe every word he was saying. Besides the big three, there are only a handful of rappers from the blog era that are still as relevant, if not more so, than they were back then. That hasn't only been because of the music, but that at least has remained consistent. Knowing the background of Philly battle rap, Meek's flows are intense, often rapid-fire imagery mixed with creative punchlines. His ethos of accomplishing his dreams and the setbacks that he endures while trying to do so emanates from every major album release. I challenge you to listen to 5 Meek Mill songs and not feel like the best you. I did it, and now I got a trucking business. I do tarot readings. I sell loose squares. But for real, through his own music, his record label, and collaborating with newer artists, I genuinely believe Meek wants to not only achieve his dreams, but inspire others to do the same. In 2007, at 18 years old, Meek was arrested for gun charges. According to reports, he did indeed have a gun on him. 2 police officers, however, attested that Meek chased the officers and pointed this gun at them. During this arrest, police allegedly used Meek's head as a battering ram to enter his home while serving a warrant obtained after a previous arrest. Evidence of this police brutality is documented in his mugshot, later used for his Dreamchaser's 4 commercial mixtape. The entire situation would result in more than an album cover, as it followed him up until 2023, when Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf pardoned Meek for all charges. Prior to that pardon, however, Meek was on probation stemming from that 2007 arrest. He had already served 2 years in the county prison, during which time he was able to still release music that had been previously recorded and secure the aforementioned deal with T.I., who was also facing legal troubles. I think we know the story from there, being discovered by Rick Ross, signing to MMG. In 2012, Meek is arrested for a suspicion of drug charges, to which he must attend a probation hearing and submit to drug testing due to the probation from the 2007 arrest. He passes the drug test, yet is still blocked from touring. As many of you know, touring is a big chunk of a musician's income these days. The amount of money from just selling music from streams is abysmal compared to the cost of living for a celebrity, especially one that has prior legal trouble. To date, he has spent an estimated $30 million on lawyer and court fees. This need for money likely led to Meek admittedly purposely continuing to book shows and leave the state for concerts, for violations again in 2012, 2013, 2016, and 2017. However, if you look at many of the offenses, they've mostly been nonviolent and part of the job for any other immensely popular rapper, and generally would be minor infractions if not for the previous conviction. Meek finally caught a break when one of the officers involved in his arrest in 2007, one of two officers that alleged he committed aggravated assault, was listed by the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office as not to be called to provide witness testimony. This was following a federal investigation into alleged corruption. It's no surprise that following a release from prison in 2018, Meek, along with Jay-Z, owner of the New England Patriots and Kraft CEO Robert Kraft, owner of the Philadelphia 76ers Michael Rubin, and a host of other powerful and influential CEOs, would create Reform Alliance, a nonprofit organization that has helped to get 13 bills across 8 states approved to reform the criminal justice system. This alliance has led to over 500,000 incarcerated individuals being led to their freedom, and their goal for 2024 is to reach over 1 million. Many celebrities start organizations or give to charities, and you hope that they actually care about the causes. With Meek, it's obviously clear that this cause actually means something to him. He's done. He's free, but he has continued to carry the torch and reluctantly be the face of the organization. There have been cries that a criminal shouldn't be in the foreground, and to that I ask, who better than someone that has actually been affected? In recent weeks, he's even seemed to willingly be the voice of the people wronged by the justice system. I go over all this history and I come away asking myself why criminals are written off as just that, criminals. I don't think anyone is born that way. Like, you're born, the doctor slaps you on the butt, wham, okay, enough crying. Time to crime! I'm not coming from this saying that crime should be immediately excused, but a system designed to trap individuals for paying for the same crime over and over again seems unjust, especially if bias is involved. I don't have all the answers, but I can admire a person searching for them. Even with that admiration and respect, let's make fun of Meek Mill. It's wild to see a rapper with such a street tough guy image get basically treated like a clown on the internet. The flip obviously happened in 2016 after beef with Drake coined the term. I often talk about missing the days when rappers had more allure and weren't so accessible via social media. From asking ridiculous questions and self-exposing some embarrassing moments, Meek is a habitual oversharer. His biggest beef right now isn't with some OG in the streets or even another peer. It's an internet nigga who never leaves the house. With the absurdity of some of his online activity, he often overshadows the positive that he has to offer. Meek typically tends to contradict his message by continuing to engage in threats of violence and gangsterisms that led to his incarceration in the first place. At this point, this is where I must contradict myself and say, Meek gotta shut the fuck up. Judging by his history, Meek Mill will never shut up. And now that you've seen this video, maybe you'll understand why that's a good thing. I went and took a listen to Meek's latest project, his EP, Heathenism. Despite the unfortunate timing and naming of this project and some of the song titles, there's some really good music. The intro track sounds like Dreams and Nightmares, which I'm pretty sure is on purpose, so that's not a shot. I can see y'all first listening, you might think, oh, he's just using the same formula that works, and it's the same song. And really, it's like, I've repeated this phase of my life again, and the music reflects that. Meek is a street rapper. I'm not expecting him to completely changed subjects overnight. Chance went from rapping about drugs to I love my wife, and the whole world told him shut the fuck up. Meek talks about peace while still talking about sliding. That's because there's a market for it. Some of those themes are going to be repetitive, but there's new context and subtle creative differences from what you've heard before. If you're going off Billboard charts, which why would you do that? It may look like there's not a market for it, or no one's listening to it, or no one's interested, even though these are real people. Niggas be tweeting no one is listening to a whopping 30 impressions. Not to mention the fact that Meek is independent, so there's a smaller audience, but a bigger slice of the pie, which hopefully allows him to continue making music and booking shows. I still want to hear it. Whatever the content of the music, Reform Alliance is inarguably a good thing. The advocacy group was actually able to pass 18 bills in 11 states, creating pathways for nearly 800,000 people to exit the supervision system. I'm not a poli-sci major, but I can acknowledge there may be flaws to that system as far as advocacy groups. Advocacy groups are basically people looking for a hookup. So there may be flaws to that system. However, politicians are supposed to sign laws that will positively affect their constituents. However, there's nothing to stop them from positively affecting their own pockets. I can also acknowledge sometimes working within this flawed system can result in a net positive change. In my home state, some of these bills include reducing the max time that someone can be on probation, allowing remote reporting to cut down on office time and violations that a parolee may get because they didn't make it to the office on time. Hopefully, a turning point is coming with his use of social media. We saw him block DJ academics, so there's hope. And from this point, hopefully he can just use his voice for good or just for sheer entertainment. Apparently he's supposed to be at WrestleMania this year. Really, when I think about it, I'm not gonna hold you. I gotta respect the vulnerability. Bro isn't too cool to make a fool of himself online. But it's not like embarrassment that we haven't all experienced. I've fallen down the stairs before. So is it over for me? Should he just hang it up? Okay, so if that's the case, then what? If you've made it this far, thanks for watching. Leave a like. Sub if this was raw. We're halfway to 1K, so that's small. Yeah, gratitude.